Hey, it's Vanner, and this is Finding Frequency. Took Francie to the kindergarten this morning and had many things to talk about, many things to reflect on, all kinds of positive things. And then you kind of run into the day and things get busy and sometimes a little bit more grumpy. And then there's this kind of yin and yang of the day that happens. So today was definitely a yin and yang day. Started off positive. And I mean, not that I'm negative at the moment. Come on. It's just these things that I observe and I get kind of annoyed sometimes, like a bit frustrated in a sense. But I mean, the walk this morning was really awesome. I woke up to some good content on social media channels. As I mentioned, I did some work with my friend Terry. She actually wrote an awesome Medium post about it, and it's really just cool to see. Not that I think I am great. It's not about that. It's that we did some work together, and it seems to be valuable. I mean, we're still going to work on it and see where it takes us, and we have to reference back to it. But it's refreshing to see that something we did is deemed to be valuable by someone else, and that is cool. That is like disheartening. And I think that is what draws me to the world of design and all these interesting things we do, especially if there's a bit of hesitancy and then or a nervousness about using it, and then boom, it just pays off. But it's really about how much you invest into the process yourself. Because if you sit back, and believe me, this happens all the time, that people think design is a recipe, and yes, of course, if you follow the recipe, something will pop out on the other side, but that's not going to be something awesome. It's just going to be potentially the recipe, or you might run into a situation where it flops, because even when you follow a recipe, things can flop. But I mean, why did I feel a bit grumpy today? Yeah, I mean, in the middle of the day, I'm still sorting out. I spoke about how interesting or important the meeting is going to be today with this long-term pitch that I'm doing. And yes, we have gone into another cycle. So no closure yet, getting closer to signing a contract, but not there yet. And I must say, I'm not frustrated. It's been a learning process, kind of trying to see where I could have done better every step. But the thing is also, I have to be honest, it's not about learning. I've been here before. I know how this works. And, you can always go and reflect on things, but, it is what it is. It just is what it is. And, sometimes I feel like when I reflect too much, it becomes that I'm uncertain about what is about to happen. And I'm not uncertain about it. Project, I can do this, no problem. I think sometimes also what happens is that a client is a little bit nervous to sign on a dotted line. I can understand that. But at some stage, we probably have to also decide if we're going to, it's like I did a job interview with someone at some stage, and we were talking and and at some stage, the guy leaned over the desk and said to me, like, are we going to do this or what? Are we going to move forward? Are we this is not all great. Like, I love having a conversation, but are we going to work together or what? And I kind of appreciated that because, I think we tend to beat around the bush too much, Everybody's too nervous to, take a leap of faith. So I need to create an environment where people are more comfortable to take leaps of faith. And that's why I'm doing things like this podcast, because hopefully I'm generating some kind of credibility somewhere. Yes, also, I sat in a meeting today where, first of all, the person was 10 minutes late. And then in the middle of the conversation, the person decided to just say, excuse me, and walked off. Now, I know what happened there. This person deemed himself to be much more senior than the people in the call. And I thought it was extremely rude. I think he's got the word partner written in his title. And let me tell you what, that's one of the reasons I left my previous job. Because you ain't shit. Your title ain't shit. And when you disrespect people, That's the bottom line. And my attitude towards that is much different. I don't care. I don't suffer that anymore. And I think we need to be more respectful. That's why I enjoy working with leaders who are humble and lead from the front. And I've met some of them. It's really difficult for me when I just recently met a CEO of a huge corporation here in Poland. Is he a tough guy? Yes, he's tough. Is he a man who's got a lot of problems and a lot of responsibilities and a lot of things on the go? Is he busy? Yes. But does he disrespect people in meetings? Is he on time? Is he respectful to everybody in the meeting? Hell yes. So when I sit in a meeting with a snot-nosed American consultant who thinks that he is the shit, I get a little bit frustrated. But that's a generalization. Oh, and this is going way too long. This is going way too long, but I have to share this. So I did a bit of a test today. A friend shared a link with me, Tammy, with some tests from Harvard that kind of tests your, now I forgot the word. It's related to diversity, but how biased, that's the word, how biased you are. Now, the thing is it's a bias test, and there's actually a whole set of them. And I did the first one today. Going in there, I mean, I have my opinions, and you've heard them here. And I did the first test, and the way it works is that it has objects. So you have dangerous objects, and you have, what is the opposite of non-dangerous, like normal objects. So backpack, toothbrush, soap, images, and then you have dangerous objects like knuckle dusters, guns, knives, things that is not cool. And then you have groupings of people. So it's like these black and white photos, tightly cropped, and you can definitely see Caucasian and you can see black. So, and they're very clear. You settle, they group these pictures. And then the test is very interesting because at some stage what they do is they ask you, and you have a left and right button that you press, and they ask you to do as fast as possible. So at some stage, what they do is they have on the left-hand side is black, on the right-hand side is white. So if you see a black face, you tap left. If you see a white face, you tap right. But then what they do at some stage, you also mix in, if you see a black face, you tap left. But if you see a object that is not dangerous, you also need to tap left. And if you see an object that is dangerous, you need to tap right. So it's like, it's not that they connected with each other, but you are associating, it's kind of association. So when I see a knife, I need to tap right. If I see a white guy, I need to tap right. If I have to tap, if I see a black person, I tap left. And if I see a backpack or whatever, I have to tap left. Now, what is interesting is that I knew what they were doing. And I said to myself, okay, Werner, what's happening here? And I, work with your own biases. And I really had to concentrate. And I thought I was doing really well. I didn't make any mistakes. I don't associate black people with dangerous things. But then they flipped it around. Where, you have the white guy and the non-dangerous thing, the black guy and the dangerous thing. And the thing is, I noticed in myself how my brain was working that I could, in the biased way, I was much slower. In the non-biased way, am I making sense? I was much faster. So it actually came down because they tricked me, these suckers. It's really about like measuring the speed of how you do these associations. And I was much faster associating white people with safer products. And, it just started playing in, and it just shows you a little bit, just going through that process, how some of these biases is actually built into us. I didn't walk away from this test going, I'm now racist. Of course not. I have to work on this every day. I need to work on the fact that I need to accept diversity. It's not something that, I'm not going to bullshit you. It's not something that I accept. I'm just the world's perfect liberal. Of course not. I have my own biases built in already. But what was interesting about this test, it just kind of bubbles that, it shows you, it reflects it. So it was super interesting. I really enjoyed doing it. And I'm a bit scared of doing the rest of them, to be honest, between you and me. I'm really scared doing the rest of them. And I'm going to take some time to do that because I think it's a learning thing, because we make certain assumptions about ourselves and then you go do it. By all means, I know it's an online test. Come on, you can't shape your whole life around it. But it did give me a bit of an insight. And I mean, I walked away like really reflecting on that experience. So, yeah, Yeah, I would encourage you to do that. If I remember, I'll actually pop the link to the test in the show notes that you can also go and check them out. And perhaps you can let me know what you thought of it and how you fared. But on that note, I will leave it here because I'm going to try and record a YouTube video while Marta and Francie is visiting some family members. And I have a little bit of a gap to do that. So thank you for listening and catch you tomorrow. It's Friday. Ciao.